Hello, my name is Adolfo, and this is Life of Adolfo. Today, I'm going to talk about my shadow day, and I'm going to try to only cover 5 to 6 things what I consider are important, what I consider has changed from the time that I was a CCA 4 years ago, because I did quit, to now, and things. One thing that I compared this station to the old station when it comes to the walking route, because my shadow day was a walking route. With that being said, the first thing that I want to cover is the casing. I made a video 4 years ago that the hardest thing to do is casing. And the reason I say it's the hardest thing is because that is the thing that's going to delay you or is going to make you improve yourself and be, I don't want to say the same as a city carrier, but almost the same speed. And what I mean with that is if a casing is required to be done in an hour and you as a CCA or me as a CCA finishes in three, that means me leaving the station, I'm already 2 hours behind. And if I have the equivalent speed of a city carrier, even slower, I'm guaranteed instead of finishing, we'll say that the route is you have to finish by 4 p.m., an 8 hour route slash casing. I'm going to finish it at 6 p.m. at the minimum. So, casing for me, when I went to the station, I noticed there's something different. The difference is that it's an L shape. Before, on my old station, it was in a U shape. And when I went to orientation, and one of my drivers, I talked to him, and I told him, "Hey, how is your station?" He said, "My station is an L shape, but it used to be a U shape. What they did is they congested it. So it's the same amount of areas that you have to cover on a route, but when it comes to casing, they just made it smaller to be in a U shape. On an L shape, we'll say this is the L instead of the U and you being in the middle, casing around it. I'm not sure why they did it like that. I assume probably because they don't want you to be casing and turning around in probably a split second of waste time. I'm not sure. I just know that they made them in an L shape. I'm not sure if all the stations are like that. But what I did notice is that in this station, it was less volume. And for people who don't know what volume is the amount of mail that you're getting to deliver in your route. It was a Saturday, but I talked to the individual. He said the most they get is about, I want to say six DPS or the mail that comes already ready. In my old station, we used to get all the way to 14. So it does make sense that it's seven because it's a walking route. That means that you're delivering in a less amount of space, less amount of houses because you cannot walk as fast as a vehicle. So where you're casing and you're walking and you're delivering mail, but you're walking, so it's less volume. So it's on that day we got two of them already ready. I'm not sure if that's a DPS. I forgot what the name of that one. And the one that he encased, it was only one. So that is one of the key things that I saw different when it comes to casing. The second one, it was a refresher for me. You start from the bottom left, then bottom right, and you work your way to the top all the way to the end at the top right. I forgot if it was a snake pattern or it was left to right, left to right, left to right, like that. So I forgot how he was casing it or uncasing it. So that was the second different thing. The third thing that I noticed about casing, it was a refresher, is they're called loops. And the key thing about a loop, so people can understand when you're doing a walking route, is that one loop, two loops, or three loops is the amount of stops or basically like a relay on where you have to go so you could do the next loop, the next relay. They're called loops. I'm just calling it a relay. And the key thing on those is you need to rubber band them so you can know where you're gonna start on your next route. However, when it's not a lot of mail, the one that you're rubber banding, you don't base your route on that one. You base it on the one that comes already organized. On the ones that I told you, there's that we have two sleeves. I call them sleeves because those will dictate a earlier house that you have to go stop so you could do your loop, your walking loop. Now that's the first thing, and the number two that I was going to cover. And the reason I wanted to cover the second one is because in my previous station, one loop was probably 2, 3 streets. On this one, what I noticed, which is kind of smarter, a loop was from one stop sign to the other and come back. With the exception of one, it was a street, hit a cul-de-sac, go back to the street, walk, hit another cul-de-sac, walk, hit another cul-de-sac, and come back. Now, why is that important? Because if you're doing 2, 3 blocks or streets, that means that you're going to carry a lot of volume, a lot of mail. Volume, I don't know if I said that earlier. Volume is the amount of mail that you're taking on one specific loop. The more weight that you're carrying. So what I like about this area is that you go from one end to one stop sign and come back. It's gonna be less volume, and you may not notice it, but you're not gonna be as tired if you're doing 3 streets at once, or 2 streets at once, or a long street. And that right there is important because you don't want to get tired. Well, you're eventually gonna get tired because I didn't want to cover this right now, but I'm gonna cover it. The walking route that I had was easily over 10 miles. I do have a Fitbit. I average it, but including the casing, it was about 11 miles and something. Even though I didn't case, I was walking inside the office, inside the station. So I kind of want to say it was like 10 point something. So you could get your mindset on how many miles you're gonna be walking. So I already covered the number one is the casing. Number two, loops, comparing it to my other station. And I do like this station more on the loop side, like going one and coming back. Number three, I did cover how many miles I walked. I walked over 10, 11 points, I think 11.43 with the station, or you could say it was 11.43 the route. Number three, something that I noticed is different from the previous time. That was a CCA, and this is a game changer for CCA's new ones. Is that the scanner is going to tell you when you scan it, and you're over there on your vehicle, it's going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's a game changer. Now, what do I mean with that? It's telling you if that parcel is going to be early, it's going to be in the second phase, third phase, or fourth phase, fifth, or sixth phase of your route. Back then, the way we used to do it as new CCAs, and you got to remember, a CCA doesn't do one specific route over and over and over. For me, I used to do all the routes. Versatility for me was more important. And if I wasn't familiar with the route, I used to put them in ABC order. And like I don't know if I mentioned that on the casing, on a walking route, usually the beginning and the ending is the same, and they keep on moving. And if you're gonna be putting them in ABC order, and we'll say that you're going to College Street, and you already know you're gonna start right there and you're gonna end right there, you don't want to be carrying parcels from the ending route part of the route at the beginning. With these one phase, two phase, three phase, you're gonna get College Street on phase 6 and on phase 1, or the first part of your route. Now, if you're on College Street and you already know there's 3 streets on that on your phase 1, all you have to do is separate the other 2 streets from College and head out with the ones that you could handle walking, because you could drive over there and deliver the certain parcels. That's a game changer because you're eliminating guessing on if that parcel belongs on this street or is going to be on the opposite side of the street when you come back and do that street. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but those 6 things that 6 on the ROB, or I forgot the other vehicles, that the big van or whatever, that you separate them on the 6 parts. That's a game changer for new CCAs. You guys might not understand me, but trust me, it saves time. So that's number three. That's what the scanner. The scanner, that's number four. Number five is the scanner. The scanner smaller, even though it doesn't make sense, or you may say, what's the significance of that? Back then, it was the big scanners. Like I said, volume, weight, all those play a factor on how tired you're going to be on a walking route. So for me, that is key that I learned on Shadow Day. It's a small, like double the size of a BlackBerry on the thickness, probably the same size. The new ones, the old ones, they were this big, thick, um, a lot of weight. Now, the final thing that I want to cover, that I already covered, the casing, the loops, the difference between this and my old station on the volume. Also, I forgot what other thing that I covered right now. Also, the 6 parts on the ROV, the scanner, and the last thing that I want to cover that is also that helps on the improvement of the way the CCA, the post office is thinking is the not at home. So imagine that you have to deliver something and it requires a signature required, a required signature. Back then, if that person wasn't there, you had to write the whole numbers, all the numbers in it. Leave him a paper that he wasn't at home, and if he wants to know where his parcel or if he wants to go pick it up at the office, he could just by taking that paper. All the little writing is time. Everything is time consuming. So now all you do is you scan that paper, that little paper that you're gonna leave there. Of course, you gotta fill it out, but without the numbers. You scan your the box that you cannot deliver there, and it links them. So if he wants to take it to the post office, so he could pick it over there, or know what happened to the package, or if he wants it not signed, or whatever the case. I don't know if he could avoid the signature by going over there and telling the post office that he don't need no signature, but the whole thing is that you don't have to write all those numbers down. And for me, that was time consuming back then, especially if you go into a certain area that has 3, 4 of them that need signature required, especially on a Monday. For people that don't know, Monday is like one of the days with the most volume of mail in the post office. Plus the parcels, because parcels that cannot be delivered on Sunday get shifted to Monday. Now that I covered the 16s on my shadow day that I felt like people should know, the casing, the loops, how many miles I walked, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that you put on your ROV, which is a game changer, the scanner when people are not at home, and the thickness of the scanner. These are things that some of them are minor, but some of them, like I said, are important. The casing is important. The length of the loops is important because the volume of the mail, and of course, how many miles are you walking if it's a walking route. As for the station that I'm in, it's all walking. With that being said, if I'm bid on a route or am I going to pick a route, it's just a change of scenery. Or maybe one route is 1 mile less, or it feels 1 mile less, or it's on a downhill, which if it's a walking route, you're going to come back up. So it's better to be playing. And that's all I wanted to cover on Shadow Day. I do like my station, even though it's walking route. I have to have a better mindset than before, even though I did have a good mindset before, but there was a lot of things going on that I quit. And this time I don't feel like I'm going to quit if it's the workload. It might be an injury, which you got to look at the pros and cons of a walking route. You could say that the pro is there's a less probability of you getting on a vehicle accident. The con is there's a higher risk probability of you getting injured, as in your feet or other things that might prohibit you from walking a route faster or not even able to walk the route. So you got to look at the pros and cons. For me, I got to look at it as a pro as long as I don't get injured. I know I'm going to probably lose a lot of weight. I know that I'm going to be walking a lot. Like I said, it's 11.43 combined on the walking slash inside the station. So hopefully you guys like my video. Like I said, I'm not trying to try to drastically uh, make these videos super long, but like I said, casing is the number one thing when you go to the post office, and I'm sticking to that again. After that is finding the mailboxes. If you can find the mailboxes and you're able to walk, you're gonna be good. Blisters, you're gonna get them. I did buy some band-aids. I did buy a helmet. I bought this one from Amazon. I'm gonna talk about it because I do like making reviews on Amazon. But I noticed it was a USPS authorized, so I bought it. And the reason I bought this, and I know jumping over shadow day right now is that when it rains, you need something to cover you. They had those fisher hats. I used to have one before, but when they get wet, even though there's no water coming down, when you take it off, it's all soaked. This one is not, but it doesn't cover. It only covers this much instead of this much. And I know it's gonna rain the day that I go back to the my station because I already did shadow day. I did my orientation. Now I'm going to CCA Academy or whatever it's called. I know it's called Academy. And after that, I'm gonna go back to my station. And the first 2 days I go back to my station, it's gonna be raining and it's gonna be cold. Two of my kryptonites. So I bought me this. I do have a rain jacket, and I'm just gonna, as long as my feet keep on moving, I think I'm gonna be good. So with that being said, remember, one thing about Shadow Day that I recommend people to do is try to memorize the route and memorize where all the mailboxes are at. And the reason for that is because when they leave you alone, you're already gonna have the advantage of knowing at least that route. Flexibility for me is important, and I'm gonna try to cover all this on other videos because I know this is Shadow Day, and I'm just trying to focus on Shadow Day. But the key thing is try to memorize where your the person that you're shadowing is going, where all the mailboxes are at. For example, I was looking for a mailbox because I went to the front door, but this area had two front doors. I did not know it had another front door until he told me the mailbox is on the other side. He also told me an area where he almost got bitten. So those things you have to focus on and pay attention. And that's what I was doing. So because in my previous station, I didn't pay attention on my shadowing, and it backfired when I did the route by myself. So with that being said, thank you. Hopefully you guys like my videos. I'm gonna try to cover orientation next, or the way the test is now compared to before. Thank you. Have a good day.